Cameron Wake, and they need a wide receiver. Brandon Marshall made up nearly 40% of their passing offense last season. They've got to replace him. Now let's go to the Jets in Sal Palantonio.
Rachel, why would the New York Jets devote a 5th-round pick and a 7th-round pick to move up in the 2nd round for a wide receiver? Because Stephen Hill of Georgia Tech fits the bill. He's a big, tall, fast wide receiver who can stretch the field, keep the safety out of the box, and then block on the edges. Exactly what Tony Sparano, the new offensive coordinator of the Jets, wants in a wide receiver so that he can run the football. Now, in the 3rd round, look for the Jets to get more depth on the offensive line. Here's Bob Holtzman in Cleveland.
Well, Sal, thank you. The Browns had 4 big areas of need. They feel like they've already filled 3 of them. They wanted to upgrade the offense. They've done that, choosing a running back, a quarterback, and an offensive lineman so far. Their next priority will be a wide receiver. They'd also at some point like to add some depth in the secondary, probably with the cornerback. The good news for the Browns is they came into this draft with 13 picks. They traded some of them away, but they still have 7 more to go. Now for an update on the Cowboys, here's Ed Werder.
Thanks, Bob. The Cowboys have had to wait 75 picks to make another choice after the trade up for Morris Claiborne, the cornerback from LSU. Potential areas of need still that they could go with this pick. Tight end, Jason Witten, the longest tenured Cowboys player on the roster. Outside linebacker, pass rusher DeMarcus Ware had 19.5 sacks. The rest of the team just 22.5. And then interior offensive line for Tony Romo, who was sacked a career high 39 times last season.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you, everybody. We get you caught up. So we talked about Johnson and Robinson go to their respective teams, defensive backs. Coach, I know you love Ronnie Hillman, running back. San Diego State goes to Denver. Posey wide, we'll do this first. So Broncos have a tool for Peyton Manning.
Listen, this is one of my favorite players in this draft. If you like Darren Sproles, Chris, you're going to like this kid. Very similar in size. Led the division in rushing with 1,719 scores, caught 24 passes. There's not a thing this guy can't do when he has his hands on the football. 23 carries a game, so you know he's tough. Marginal at times in pass protection, but what I like about Hillman is he did it in 2 different systems. Coach Hoke left, went to Michigan. It doesn't matter what formation you put him in. He's effective running and receiving. If he can improve in pass protection, this is going to be a real weapon for Peyton Manning when he checks the ball down.
So here's what the Broncos, who remember do not have a first-round pick, have done. D-tackle Wolf, the big, tall, 6'7" Osweiler, learned the craft under Peyton Manning, and now someone to help the Broncos move the football. Now Mel Posey going to Houston.
Goes to the Houston Texans. It's an opportunity. You think about the lack of depth there at wide receiver. That was a neat area. You look at a kid 6'2", nearly 210 pounds, adjusts his body well, good body control overall, very athletic kid, 36.5 vertical. Hands, I thought, a little inconsistent. This year, suspended, that 5-game suspension twice, only played in 3 games. That was that NCAA suspension. So minimal productivity, so he had to go back to when he caught 60 passes as a sophomore, 53 as a junior. But I thought, and I labeled as a kid, you can make your draft or break your heart. You can either hit the jackpot or you got to fall by the wayside. So for the Houston Texans, get him to put it all together, maintain a level of consistency, and maybe you have something.
Of course, Andre Johnson was hurt some. I mean, the Houston Texans are clearly a team favored now. After all these years of never making the playoffs, favored now again to repeat as division champs. I mean, it just sounds wrong. But, of course, it's ancient history now that Peyton Manning and the Colts are winning 10, 12, 14 games all the time. So here's what the Texans have done thus far. Now, the Buffalo Bills, a team on the rise, what don't they have? A speed receiver opposite Stevie Johnson.
Boom, boom, you're going to like this pick. I think T.J. Graham is one of the more underrated receivers in this draft. He plays out of the slot. He's got to learn how to get off the press better. He's not a big physical receiver, but he can fly. He ran a 4.39 in the 40-yard dash. He's not only good stretching the field vertically and after the catch, but also in the return game. He had 4 returns for touchdowns combined as a punt returner and kick returner. I think he can come in right away, contribute as a slot receiver, help take the top off of a defense, as you see there, the ability to get down the field, and also push for a starting job as the team's punt returner.
You know, the Bills lead, even though they lost Roscoe Parrish, they have McGee, who was once a really good returner, McKelvin, who was once, I know they're all hurt, Spiller can do it.
Right.
They get this. They lead the league in return men. Now, unfortunately, you can't play about 6 at one time, but they do need a speed receiver. They're circling the wagons on returns, I'm telling you.
Are you from Buffalo?
I am now. I got the key to the city, the front door, the back door, and the garage door opener. We'll be back.
Nas's new single, The Don, is now available on iTunes.
This is the reinvented police officer. He's also a masseuse. These are reinvented curtains. They are made of pizza. The reinvented DMV. It's a little nicer.
Next!
And this is the reinvented Camry, with available streaming music, a newly refined interior, and class-leading MPG. From Toyota.
Castrol Edge is tested and perfected to be our strongest oil, no matter what you put it through. Castrol Edge. It's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Baseball tonight is the sweet spot.
Let's get to the action.
The day and night in baseball in the perfect daily dose.
He's the best that's ever closed a game.
Give me your top 5 lineups in baseball.
Web gems.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Going, gone. And our guy's unmatched style.
He's got big ears and helps him stay back on those balls. Do I really sound like that?
Swing into the season with Baseball Tonight.
Toyota Fest. Bob Smith Toyota's biggest event ever is here.
Toyota Fest. Get huge savings only at Bob Smith Toyota.
Test drive any new Toyota during Toyota Fest and get a $25 gift card. 2012 Corollas are now just $179 a month.
And new RAV4s are just $229 a month. Plus, buy any Toyota and get an extra year of maintenance on us during
Toyota Fest. Now through 7 p.m. Sunday.
And only at Bob Smith Toyota. A great deal and a great deal more.
Where are you? The wine region of France? Monte Carlo, perhaps? Or Pebble Beach? Here's a hint. You're less than 2 hours from Los Angeles. Welcome to Wine Country and the Chumash Casino Resort. Complimentary Santa Ynez Valley wine tasting. Up to 25% off golf. 15% off spa services and fine dining. The Wine Country Passport. Available only at the Chumash Casino Resort.
So, day one, we had 4 quarterbacks go in the first round. Thus far, only Brock Osweiler picked on day 2 a while ago by the Denver Broncos. Mel, your quarterbacks now that we should be looking at perhaps round 3.
Well, you look at those numbers. Those are third-round numbers. Boom. Russell Wilson, you think about maybe in that third, fourth-round mix. And then the late-round quarterbacks. G.J. Kinney of Tulsa, formerly of Texas. B.J. Coleman, Chattanooga, formerly of Tennessee. All later-round picks, day 3 guys. But certainly Russell Wilson, you think about if he were just a little taller. And I know, John, you get aggravated when I say him. And you say, boy, he is what he is. He's 5'10 and a half. We'll push it to 5'11. I say he's a test case, and I say it for this reason. If you're talking about Russell Wilson in the NFL, he'll get a chance to be a starting quarterback. If he can't get it done for the next 10 years, Todd, I don't want to hear about any quarterbacks under 6 feet in that 5'11 range.
Well, you're
this
gonna.
Can't make it. Nobody can at that particular height.
You're gonna. I mean, he took Wisconsin to the Rose Bowl. They almost won it. He played great at NC State before that. He even played some baseball. So, I mean, if in the offseason he could help you out with in town with the baseball team, I mean, if you really needed. He has a lot of it, though, doesn't he, John?
He has it. What do you want him to do? He's done it in 2 different offenses. You probably downgraded Ray Lewis, didn't you? London Fletcher and Wes Welker. You probably downgraded Sproles and Maurice Jones-Drew. You discriminate against guys that aren't 6 feet tall. Guys like me. Russell Wilson is going to go, and he's going to go real quick. And he's going to be one of those guys that defies the eye. Because the difference between Drew Brees, Michael Vick, in Russell Wilson, size-wise,